try and get him to try and remove a little bit of the blue at the top, because the end isn't too bad. I'll just try and get them to clean up like this area, I think, and then yeah, then I reckon I'll try and do something with the ends at home. I'll just keep washing it, or get them to tone the whole thing. I feel like I just want it a little bit more warmer. It's too cold at the moment with all the different blue tones. Because I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, but basically I've got an idea for my next colour, but I feel like I need my hair a bit warmer for it. Otherwise I'm going to have to go blue again, which I don't really want to do, but...
She wants to go warmer. She wants to get rid of that blue. I have got a client. It took more than 5 goes to get rid of the blue in her hair. She has had every colour known to man, and blue stuck like nobody else. But there's a main reason for that, is because blue is the densest, deepest molecule of all of the primary colours, and so therefore it really, really is incredibly difficult to get out. When she said clean out that area, maybe she knows what she's saying, maybe she doesn't know what she's saying, but that is an incredibly difficult task. Incredibly difficult. I wouldn't necessarily want to try and tackle that in one go. She's got very dark roots. She's obviously got highly bleached hair, so there's going to be a lot of damage in there. Overlapping onto that is going to be a treacherous job. Maximum 20 minutes of putting on there. And look, guys, Eversaw and all these people always come at me in the comment section. It's just bleach. It's basically bleach. It's a highly alkalized chemical that lightens hair. It's basically bleach. So whatever you say about it, it's bleach. I don't know how else to say it to you guys. Yes, there's like colour removers, but they don't turn you back to your natural, and they will not turn her hair blonde. Okay, it might go green if you lighten it out, which is quite common. When you lighten blue out of someone's hair, it goes green. Let's see what happens. I haven't actually seen the full deal here, so I'm very intrigued as to see what happens.
Yeah, we shall see what colour my hair will go to, and then we'll determine what colour I'll go next.
Okay, she's put a disclaimer on the screen. We can clearly see that she's got a scalp bleach on. They're tackling her dark roots first, which is the right way to go about it. You don't see any more of this hair application because she said she's not showing it. But let's see what happens once she comes back home. Okay, before she speaks, this looks like somebody removed a box dye just by that orangey colour here. But her roots are really light. The ends have obviously been toned. They must have put on like a level 8 onto her hair to get it like this. To me as well, and it's hard to say, but the condition looks a little bit compromised. I can't be 100% sure about that, but it does, to get that level of warmth into hair that was like that, they must have bleached it all of the ends, all over again. Let's hear what she's got to say about it. She's clearly not very happy.
I can't even look at myself, to be honest with you. This is what my hair has ended up like from the salon yesterday. I don't actually know what to do with it. I wasn't really going to say anything, but I weekly vlog and I share this with you guys, and I share about my hair, and this is literally probably, well, the worst my hair has ever looked. And I got it so good. Like, I felt like it was getting stronger. I felt like, you know, even you guys complimented me on my hair and said, you know, it looks healthier, stronger and thicker. And I just feel like this side is just so thin. It was thin before anyway, but I just feel like after the salon yesterday, it's just so even more thinner. Like, I'm going to insert a picture of what my hair looked like before, and I felt like it looked good. I've all these bits.
There's definitely breakage, and I spotted that straight away, especially around her cheek here, and she's pointing it at herself now. Even before she did that, I could see the difference between prior to going to the salon. And so they've clearly, after they've done the bleach application on the roots, they've then gone back through and bleached all of the ends again. I can't imagine how else they'd have done this, to be honest, and that is a big mistake. Going into hair that is that bleached and that highly coloured and had that many things done to it is really, really not a sensible idea. And so I'm just thinking about it from the perspective of a hairdresser, right? I'm thinking about me as a hairdresser, and in this situation, you have to be very, very frank about what you're willing to do, not what you're going to try and do, what you're willing to do. And I've done influencers' hairs, and you do get carried away sometimes with influencers because you want the exposure, especially for your younger stylist. I don't know how old the person was that did this, but you do get carried away and you do things that you probably wouldn't have done if it was just a normal client. So there could be an element of that, and I don't know why we do that, but something that can happen. But in this particular instance, it is highly damaged. So they've gone all in. They've kind of committed to, you know, doing it all, and that is a big mistake in a lot of ways. Let's hear what she's got to say about it.
The front have basically broken off. I've got loads of bits at the back that have, like, were growing and now they've broken off again. Like all these bits, like this whole clump here has just broken off. I've always had loads of like thin bits on my crown anyway. So like that bit's, you know, I was growing that out. So that, I mean, is thin, but I knew that anyway. But all this bit at the front, it was growing. It's so thin on this side, it's unreal. Like you can see, it's thicker on this side. The colour, oh, honestly, it's a disaster, and I don't actually know what to do with my hair.
It's so orange around the face. They must have put like a copper level 8 over the top of that, and it's taken on the hair that's more porous around the face, because hair around the face is always more porous, and it's just washed out through the ends. That's all I can think. It's just so incredibly porous and just spat all the colour out.
It's like a rusty, orangey, greeny, like, yeah, it's not good.
So the main reason it's greeny as well, by the way, is that the yellow pigment in the gold colour that they've put on there has interacted with the blue and turned green. So you've got to be really, really careful if you're going to neutralise blue colours, that the colour is orange. But you've also got to bear in mind that you're probably going to turn it orange, because an orange colour is darker than a very pale blue. And so this is what's happened here. It's clear as day now. They've gone in, done scalp bleach, they've put it all the way through the ends, they've damaged the hair, and then they've gone in with a level 8 copper, gold copper shade. That's caused this orangey, greeny concoction. Bless her. She has got a hair disaster on her hands. I hope she managed to fix it in some kind of way. Let's see what happens.
Basically, I have a wedding at the weekend, and it's just a bit awkward because I feel like I can't have, because there's just such a stigma around coloured hair at people's weddings, and I just know, I don't know, anyway. So basically I've wanted to try and get my hair clean, and I knew it was going to be a really difficult job because the top bit of my banding, like the roots were bleached and that was absolutely fine, but then there was this like blue banding from where I'd used like a really dark purple before and it faded, and basically they tried to get it out without using bleach. Then they used bleach and it got it out a little bit, but it didn't get out enough, and then they thought to neutralise it with an orange, which great, like they've done that before and it's gone fine. But normally when I do it, I use a very, very weak kind of, I use hair dye and conditioner, and I do it very, very weak, so it's very pastel, so you colour correct. But I think the blue was just so pigmented that they used a pigmented like orangey copper toner, and it ended up actually dyeing my hair.
I hadn't seen this, but she basically said what I just said. So you can hear what they've done. She knows exactly what she's talking about. I don't think she's a hairdresser. Unfortunately, what's happened is pretty much as I had imagined it's happened. They've gone in, they've bleached it, they've tried to bleach the band out, they've bleached it again. You know, they've panicked, basically. Rather than saying, you know, we can't get this blue out of your hair, so unfortunately we're just going to have to live with it. However it was, and it will wash out over time, which she was resided to in the beginning. Yeah, they've walked themselves into a bit of a disaster, sadly. So hopefully, before this wedding, she's found some sort of resolution.
Then I think they just had to work with what they had. So then they matched my roots to the end, and now I've ended up with this. And I feel like I'm so far from my normal blonde, and I don't know how to get it back. And I don't also know what to do with this. Right, I need to stop ugly crying now. And yeah, I just don't know what to do, basically. And bless them, the girls, like, they tried their hardest. They really did. And they said I can come back today and they'll try and sort it for me. Because obviously I dye my hair a lot, so I think their thought process was I'm going to put an orange over this anyway, or I might put a red over it and it'll be fine. But I'm worried about putting a colour over it because my base is not blonde. my base is this. So if I put a colour on it, will I ever go back to blonde? I have no idea. Like, I feel like I've got brown hair at the moment.
That's such a client thing, isn't it? I feel like I've got brown hair. But okay, so here's the reality: is that hair, whatever's underneath that toner, will come back. It's like putting any colour. They've put a toner on it, it's gone, coppery. There is blonde underneath all of that. So yes, if she did put a red on her hair, yes, if she did put an orange on her hair, it would ultimately go back to blonde eventually. But that's a long journey away. So
yeah, because I don't feel comfortable putting a colour over this. So I feel like I want to try and get whatever out that they put in, try and get it out as much as I can, and then maybe dye it and put a colour over the top. Maybe do like red or something. But then also it's like, I just know that they won't want me to have bright red hair at their wedding at the weekend. So
I've never heard of this courtesy thing of not having brightly coloured hair at someone's wedding before. I don't know. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? If you think that's a thing, put it in the comment section down below. I've never heard of anybody being worried about someone having brightly coloured hair at their wedding. That's just news to me.
right, so I've been and bought some bits. This is the first thing that I'm going to try. It is a deep cleansing shampoo. I've got a colour remover as a last resort. I don't really want to do that. I've also bought this super cool Zero Orange shampoo for salon lightened brunette dark hair tones. So I'm hoping that might work. And I also got deep moisture mask. This one's really, really good. But I have got an Olaplex mask that I might also use.
She's been to the old wholesalers, clearly. The cleansing cream is a good idea. That's the cleansing shampoo. That's a good idea. Best case scenario is that she'll get 1 to half a level of colour removal with that. She needs to make sure that she wraps it in some kind of cling film or puts a plastic covering over it to kind of trap in a bit of heat to get that kind of working well. You can even apply a hairdryer to it to boost. It's not going to do a massive amount to this. It's going to make it slightly lighter for sure. You do need to leave it on for quite some time, and you do need to apply the product liberally. The colour remover is something I do not recommend at this point in time at all, because she has already got damage to her hair. It's only going to amplify the damage in her hair. That would be the very, very last case scenario. And then the super cool shampoo is probably not going to be powerful enough to make a big enough impact on this, unfortunately. I hope it does, but obviously I doubt it. Let's see.
Sort this out. This is what it currently looks like, and I've just shampooed it about 10 times.
The amount of times you shampoo it doesn't help. I've heard people say before, I shampooed it 10 times. You can just leave the shampoo on, it will just keep working. You don't have to keep reapplying. Just put, a liberal amount onto your hair, rub it into everywhere, and then just leave it to sit. You've put the hair into a more alkaline state than it was naturally or dry, and so therefore there's a good chance that you'll start to shift that colour molecule a little bit in there. The volume timesing it by 10, 20 is not really the logically that makes sense, because people say, well, every time I wash my hair it fades. But if you just leave your shampoo on for longer and longer periods of time, then yes, of course it will still keep doing the same job.
It is running out like orangey in the water. It's still so dark on the ends. The roots are quite light, but they're still very orangey. So I'm gonna try the blue shampoo now. That's it from Osmo. Right, so this is my third blue shampoo. It's starting to go like quite an ashy kind of colour. So I'm kind of hoping that's going to look a little bit better. If I can get it to like some sort of grey, ashy, I feel like that's going to be better than what it was. But we shall see. I don't really want to use a colour remover, but I feel like I'm going to have to do some sort of... I feel like what I need to do is a toner that's got lightener in it. But obviously I don't want to put my hair through.
Toner with lightener. No such thing. It's called permanent hair colour. And basically the only permanent part of a permanent hair colour is the fact that it permanently lifts the natural. The only thing that you can do to lift hair is bleach it. if you get a permanent hair colour and a peroxide and you mix them together, you create simple bleach. That simple bleach isn't strong enough to affect a unnatural colour molecule, but it is strong enough to affect a natural colour molecule. It will lift a natural colour molecule. And what you do by tinting your hair is you lift the natural colour, your natural colour, and then you deposit a new colour into the hair. That is why you can't really easily lift and tone hair simultaneously to a cool shade. You can lift and tone and get a warm result for sure, but you can't get a cool shade easily. So that is something to bear in mind. I mean, we'll see what happens here, but yeah, very difficult to get that done easily.
7 hours later, and this is my hair. I am feeling much happier now. I feel more myself.
Okay, to be fair, she has done a pretty good job of correcting that. It's pinky, lilac-y, blondish. It's a lot of colours going on in it, but actually it looks really nice. I mean, not that having orange copper hair is a problem by any stretch of the imagination. It's not what she wanted, obviously, and so that's the main problem here. Is just not what she wanted. But brilliant job. I'm very intrigued as to see how she actually got to this point, whether she bought any more products to get to this point. But anyway, let's find out.
But I did not do this. I literally need to say thank you to my old hairdresser because he literally saved the day. I went to him and he didn't put any bleach or anything like that on it. He just did loads of treatments to my hair. He tested my hair and basically said my hair was literally snapping off in his hands when it was wet. He did like a bit of a hair strength test. So he did like a milkshake hair reconstructing treatment. He also...
Sometimes easy to want to reach for the bleach or colour remover or whatever, but providing you personally have made peace with it's not going to be as you wanted it, but as long as it's better than it was, which is exactly what she's done here. And bearing in mind, her, like she said, her job is her hair. One thing that I always wonder about these influencers that go to salons to get their hair done, and they basically go to the salon. I don't know if this has happened here, by the way, but I know this happens. They go to a hair salon because the hair salon will say to them, "Or do your hair for free. If you come and do it, the salon will make a video and and the salon thinks that it's good exposure, and it's actually not. You don't find any new clients from it. They just do a lot of hair work for free." And things like this can happen. If you've got a great hairdresser that does your hair well, please don't leave them. It doesn't make sense. It's just not a good idea.
It's such an improvement from what it looked like this morning. And it actually, like, I don't really like pink hair that much on me because I feel like it doesn't really suit my skin tone. But it's so much better. And I'm so grateful that he managed to make me look like me. Like, I feel like I look like me again. I feel a bit happier. Obviously, I'm devastated that my hair is broken. He said it's because the bleach has overlapped and he can see where it's overlapped. I've got like a banding. You can probably see actually this bit here is where my root has been overlapped into the previous bleach. And he said, I'm going to have to be so careful with my hair moving forward because it will be very, very brittle, those sections. He said my cuticle, my hair will be so open right now, and he said I'm going to have to use product.
I'm very pleased that it ended up being good for her, or good enough that she felt happy. And it's an amazing thing, isn't it, how much your hair makes you feel good and bad, you know, when it's just a dead protein that's secreted from a follicle. I'm pleased as punch her hairdresser managed to fix it for her and she got a good result. I'm going to make a part 2 of this where we actually look at the transformation and where this has all ended up. But everything she said was right. Don't put your hair in detention. Don't stress your hair out. Don't braid your hair. All of those things that will break your hair off, don't do. Brushing it when it's wet, really, really pulling those knots out will snap off your hair. It can snap off your hair even if it's in really, really good condition.